Good morning and greetings from Namibia. In view of the IRA reform, Namibia's change in approach towards negotiating bilateral investment agreements started a few years ago. As global trends evolved with an IRA regime that showed an increasing rise in investor claims against governments, we started analyzing our own policies towards negotiating bilateral investment agreements in comparison to other countries. Although Namibia is fortunate not to have experienced any investor dispute claims, we know that the risk is still imminent and very expensive. At this juncture, I just need to mention that before the Namibian government relooked its investment treaties, it has decided to assess the relevance and effectiveness of its existing legal framework for investment. We carried out various studies and concluded that our current Foreign Investment Act is outdated and no longer serves as a useful tool for attracting FDI. It was therefore determined that the policy should be replaced with a new and more responsive overarching law on investment. As the process of review and drafting of the new act progressed, government also resolved to reevaluate its BITS regime, and we have equally identified the shortcoming in the BITS with respect to certain provisions. We realized that our BITS do not serve our interests anymore due to changes in domestic laws and regulations, and furthermore, it was by no means self-evident that the BITS increased real levels of FDI into Namibia. And in light of weighing both policy instruments against each other and the fact that Namibia has only a few BITS in force, the Namibian government submitted that a single investment policy should rather be considered against investment treaties as a possible option for Namibia to improve its attractiveness to draw investors. The new law, in conjunction with other factors of national competitiveness, should assist Namibia in becoming very competitive to draw both domestic and foreign investments. This we want to achieve with a transparent legal investment regime, with simplified processes of admission as well as treatment of investors. Both government and private sector stakeholders are involved in the process in order to realize the development objectives of Namibia. Also, in our opinion, entering into treaty negotiations is not obviously likely to be more effective than more targeted strategy measures, especially given the size of the Namibian economy. Our government therefore mandated that once the new investment law is promulgated, all existing bilateral investment agreements will be phased out and replaced by this single investment policy. Currently, we are in the final stages of the legal drafting for this Investment Act. Notwithstanding the Namibian approach, I still believe that the dialogue to reform the IRA regime should continue. This should include strengthening of regional cooperation and consensus building. For example, in the Southern African region, SADC member countries developed a set of guidelines for BIT negotiations, which we review every 2 years. In fact, the latest review was done a month ago. The same should apply for continuous coordination and dialogue for reform with international organizations. At this juncture, I would like to commend UNCTAD for the endeavor to keep the dialogue alive with discussions and information exchange such as this expert meeting. As a country, we also value UNCTAD's effort for developing the UNCTAD roadmap as well as the UNCTAD policy framework. And in conclusion, I would just like to state that I'm certain that the shared views of this meeting will collaborate in sufficient points for discussion and recommendations to be shared during the next World Investment Forum, which will take place in Kenya. And looking forward to our next meeting, I would like to thank you.